Trump after last week's ruling against him and the Trump Organization by a New York judge in a civil fraud case.
President Trump did nothing wrong. He's being persecuted.
Attorney Alina Habba also just telling Fox News the ruling won't cause mayhem in the Trump Organization, despite nearly $400 million in damages due in less than 30 days.
Within 30 days, even if we choose to appeal this, which we will, we have to post the bond, which is the full amount and some, and we will be prepared to do that.
She's not confirming reports the former president may have to sell off many of his New York assets. A town hall with former President Trump is planned for tomorrow night during the Ingram Angle on Fox News Channel after one yesterday with Nikki Haley, who's still trailing in many polls ahead of Saturday's Republican primary in her home state, South Carolina.
All along the trail, she has been hammering the former president various topics, his legal caseload being one of them, his electability in general, and foreign policy. That's hitting big here, too.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff in Greenville. The former president's been criticizing the primary process there. Democrats can vote in the GOP primary if they did not vote in the Democratic primary earlier this month. Decades in prison for a Wisconsin woman who killed 5 people in a Mother's Day crash last year.
Anciana Sandifer gets 25 years in prison plus supervised release in exchange for a guilty plea in the deaths of 5 people on Mother's Day last year, including her sister and a toddler, after Sandifer, who was drunk, ran a red light in Milwaukee. Her van speeding at around 80 miles per hour when it slammed into another car. Records show Sandifer's license was also suspended at the time. As part of the plea deal, 6 other felonies against her were dismissed.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, you're up next.
My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight.
Here, try these.
Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks Vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Please welcome to the stage.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
Some school committee members in Massachusetts say they want the National Guard brought in to supplement school safety.
Claudio Gomes of the Brockton School Committee said the call for the National Guard is not for their military presence.
They're people like us, they're educated, they're trained, and we just need their assistance right now.
Gomes and his colleagues say the Guard coming in to be hall monitors and substitute teachers will help. The members did not go into specific detail on the need, but committee member Tony Rodriguez did say,
what's going on at the high school is disheartening, and kids are losing precious learning time when kids are causing chaos.
Teachers have complained about violence and behavior issues prior to this request. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Israel's facing more pressure from the European Union for a ceasefire in Gaza. An EU official says all but one of the EU countries is calling for an immediate humanitarian pause that would lead to a sustainable ceasefire, the unconditional release of hostages, and humanitarian assistance. Belt tightening in some states to deal with the rising cost of weight loss and diabetes drugs. Fox Business's Jerry Willis.
North Carolina's state health plan dropping coverage of anti-obesity drugs, including Ozempic and Wegovy, as costs spiral out of control. The state will spend $170 million on weight loss drugs this year and estimates spending of $1 billion by 2030. Meanwhile, the number of employees using the meds has increased 731% to 23,200. That's up from 2,700 in mid-2021. Each prescription costs the state $800 monthly after rebates.
16 states cover the cost of these kinds of drugs, including California. 35 states do not, including New York. Wall Street closed today for the President's Day holiday after the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ ended last week with declines on Friday. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign, and Ben Nevis Saturday. Nice one ahead. Holiday for some coming off late last week's snow and very cold weather over the weekend. It's back into perhaps a more or less spring-like feel around these parts as the week wears on, and another run of extended early spring-like weather for next week. Sunny turning out as cold later in this afternoon. Light southeast to south wind will become southwest, and highs topping out around 41. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, not so cold either. Lows down to 26, light south wind for the day tomorrow, mostly sunny, 48 in the afternoon as south breezes pick up. We'll level off into the 30s tomorrow night, heading towards the 50s, 57 on Wednesday, with a mostly sunny, breezy, milder day. Be a bit of rain with temperatures up to 52 on Thursday, slight cooling over the course of Friday and Saturday, but still above average at 45 on Friday, a Saturday high of 47. We're back into the 50s on Sunday, 60-degree weather early next week. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Really, really good college basketball game. Great atmosphere, great crowd, 18,000. Everything that you can't forget that. Even though Kevin's, they got off to a tough start. This is a really good basketball team that was picked at the top of our league and had 2 first-team all-league players, and so that team Kevin's done an unbelievable job, and that team's responded in a really positive way, and their young kids are continuing to grow. So. Really proud of our group. Great environment. Great. Had to make plays. Had to make winning plays. I thought the play Marcus DeMosk made late when he didn't foul. Then it was the outlet pass to Justin, to Coleman, and it was a big momentum play in the game. But I thought the job Terrence Shannon Jr. did late defensively, that's the Terrence Shannon that we know and love. On the defensive side, 4 blocks. Jameer got his. We knew he was going to take close to 25 shots. And he makes 8 of them. And I thought Terrence did a great job on him late. And then Marcus on the glass. I thought Ty's performance was spectacular, plus 20, plus minus in minutes on the court. Not as big a game for Coleman in terms of scoring the basketball, but he had a stretch there in the middle of the second half that I thought was huge. So all in all, really pleased. Finally nice. I can check this one off. The only place I hadn't won was here. It feels good to be able to do that.
Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Toss. Good talking to everybody once again. We were off on Friday due to the inclement weather.
Boy, did I take some grief for that one.
Did you really?
Yo!
Yeah. Oh, well.
They're like, Tay, have you not driven
playing it safe
in like a half an inch of snow in your life?
We got a lot more than that, though.
Yeah, we did.
We got a decent amount.
Seemed like by that time of the day, though, it was all gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
I was outside teaching my kid how to throw snowballs, so I got a win out of it.
That is 10,000 times more important than sitting here talking to Kyle and
It's all good.
Amen.
I don't know. I ended up picking Illinois in my preview. I was going to say I don't know how many of us would have picked Illinois over Maryland. It's one of those games that just has been so frustrating for Illini fans to lose the Terps time and again. As Brad said there at the end of that clip, his first time winning in College Park. Illinois as a program, the first time going there since the ACC Big Ten Challenge 2011. That was the last time they won against Maryland on the road. They got that done on Saturday. It was a hard-fought win. Terrence Shannon was spectacular. He might be fully back into his All-American form. Coleman Hawkins played pretty well. Marcus DeMask was great. And Illinois solidifies the fact that as of right now, they're very clearly the second best team in the Big Ten. We'll talk about this as well. Purdue falls on the road yesterday in Columbus, which was shocking. But the fired coach boost, which seems to happen in a variety of sports, certainly worked for the Buckeyes. Chris Holtmann gone, and Ohio State gives an inspired performance. They knocked off the Boilers. So Illinois still, as far as the Big Ten title chase, still has a hope there. And to get there, you had to win on the road against Maryland and to have that door be open. So nice win for the Illini, and meant a little extra because it was against Maryland, a team that's kind of been a thorn in your side.
Big time. I want to know why Maryland isn't better than what they are. I mean, when you watch them play, and I know that they've always had kind of Illinois' number, but You look at that team, that is a solid team, and somehow you look at the standings, and other teams have beaten them. And I'm like, how? I mean, it's a dogfight for a really good Illinois team to beat them. I mean, Jameer Young does his thing. That's what he does. You know, I know that got interesting afterwards with Kevin Willard mentioning that, he got fouled 12 times. Okay. But, you know, Julian Reese has played well against us. It must just be the matchup thing. And I'll tell you right now, if we never have to play Dante Scott again, I'm fine with that. I like Dante Scott. He's a hell of a player. He always, since his freshman year, it seems like, or whenever he really started playing, seems like he's always had Illinois' number and has always done a good job against him. And, you know, for a couple of these years, we didn't have a 4 guy to guard him. Mm-hmm. We can remember those desolate days. But, you know, even now, he still has games against Illinois. I'll say it, I don't want to run into them at the Big Ten tournament. I just don't, because not only do these teams match up perfectly, but, man, Maryland always comes to play against us. Like, I don't know how I look at the scoreboard and they've lost to, like, Nebraska or something. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
But they have. So, but no, Illinois, and then, of course, the Purdue win yesterday. We could not believe that. We were watching that instead of Daytona. Obviously, that rained out. It's about ready to start now. So it was cool because we all met as our group. Every year we meet for Daytona 500. So we're like, well, the show goes on. So instead of watching racing, we watched a little basketball and loved every second of the end of that Purdue-Ohio State game.
I bet. Yeah, just a great outing for Jamison Battle, who went nuclear there in the second half. And just Ohio State played a stellar game, and just you're waiting for the fall off. Like, surely the adrenaline and just the buzz that they have going is going to fall at some point. Purdue go on like an 8-0 run, take control, and find a way to win. But you look at a team that's towards the bottom of the Big Ten. Ohio State still, with that win, second to last, only above Michigan in the Big Ten standings. Maryland 2 spots above them. Squads that are, Maryland in particular, because they're older and they've got some proven, like, all-league type of guys. Jameer Young's going to be a first-teamer. Julian Reese is probably going to be at some third team.
I would say.
Most likely. He's put up good numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little surprising, especially Maryland preseason picked third in the league above Illinois. But they have given Illinois issues. I think we've talked about this before, but they're athletic, they're physical.
Yeah.
That was a bloodbath of a game for about 30 minutes, and then where not a whole lot was called. I mean, there were fouls because you got to get some along the way to rack up. Illinois shot in the 30s, and Maryland was darn close. They were like 28 or something like that, but it was called really tightly down the stretch. And I always hate that, where it's like,
I do too.
If something's not a foul through the first 3 quarters of a game, then all of a sudden they're calling ticky-tack stuff and some just anticipatory calls. But Illinois able to withstand it. I like the way they went to Shannon down the stretch. And what he ends up with is 27 points. He goes 6 for 16 from the field. Wasn't having the 3-ball fall. Illinois in general was only 5 for 20 from 3, but I think that even speaks a little bit more to what they could do offensively without the 3-ball going. They were 32 for 36 from the line. This was a team that we've talked about, obviously, all of last year and even early on this year. Why are they so bad at the free throw line? All of a sudden, they're over the last month or so, they're reliable at the charity stripe. Damas doing what he did, and man, he got bruised and battered. Took a inadvertent shot from Dante Scott, got hit underneath the jaw, which was another one that he just kind of, afterwards, he looked like a boxer. That, unfortunately for Illinois side, had one.
Right.
Because he put a double-double on the other side. But just a nice win. Maryland's not going to look spectacular on your resume. It was more of a, just kind of a, you found a way to win a gritty, physical game against a team that's has more talent than maybe what the record says.
I agree.
And just from a personal standpoint, it'd be frustrating to lose another one to that program.
Yeah, and we've watched sports our whole life, Derek, and we realize that sometimes teams just match up and play well against you. I'll tell you another one. How about Illinois women's basketball against Indiana? I know that they hadn't won the last 3 times I think they played them, but remember last year they put a scare in them early.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It seems like every time Illinois plays Indiana women's basketball, Illinois is a team that just frightens them. And then, of course, today, a rare 1 o'clock start And the Illini women knock off 14th ranked Indiana 86-66. Blow them out.
Blow them out, yep.
So Makaira Cook had a big game with 22. You had, six players. Only 6 played from what I'm looking at here for the Illini, and all 6 finished in double figures. So that's huge. Bostic, of course, doing her thing, 12 points, 11 rebounds. So, but you just kind of get that idea. So I'm not going to apologize for beating Maryland, especially there, and I know you're not doing that, but I just think that's a great win. That's a better win for Illinois than another team going into Maryland and winning, because it just seems like we cannot shake them, and to be able to get one back after they stole one from you, and then now to understand you kind of control your own destiny. Now, this is not going to be easy for Illinois to go to Wisconsin, to go to Iowa. You still got some challenging games coming up with, of course, Purdue at home. But, man, just get me to that game with a chance to tie Purdue atop the Big Ten standings. How fun would State Farm Center be that day if Purdue came in, you're only a game behind with a chance to even that back up? Man, that would be fun.
That atmosphere would be insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've talked about in recent weeks about where State Farm Center stacks up around the Big Ten. Is the Orange Crush mostly Kyle to blame for what's been going on here at home? Is the band up to snuff? But that would be a just electric atmosphere.
Well,
I've always said that you give State Farm Center a big game, and that place is as good as it gets in the Big Ten, maybe save for Mackey. I think Indiana's really, really good. I think Michigan State can be really good. Even Maryland, which Jeremy was there instead of me this time, but sold out, 17,000. They didn't show up for the Iowa game earlier last week, but it looked like that crowd brought it on Saturday. But, yeah, Illinois, Purdue for a share of the Big Ten title, or because that wouldn't be the last game of the year because Illinois would still go to Iowa, but that would be electric. So, I did want to make one more note on the women's side. Credit to Wade on the U of I Atlantic Link text line.
Yeah.
The women had lost, get this, 16 in a row.
Wow. Which makes
Indiana.
what I said not make any sense. It just seems like the last 2 years when Indiana's been ranked, I mean, they were ranked like 4th last year, and they went into Bloomington and took it to overtime. So it makes no sense that I say they've always been a challenge for Indiana, but it seems like the last 2.
They have played them tight. Even earlier this year was 77-71 in Bloomington.
It just seems like these last 2 seasons. I mean, we know what Illinois women's basketball was before Shauna Green got here. They didn't play anybody. They didn't give anybody fits, right, except maybe some random game that I've never heard of the college. So, I mean, it was bad. Yeah, I mean, it was just bad, Kennesaw State. Yeah. But since Sean has arrived, I mean, they have played that Indiana squad tough, and it's good to see him come back on the other side now and get one.
For sure.
I don't know
just
if that's
disappointing that they're a game above 500.
Yeah.
It's disappointing they started, 2-6 in Big Ten play. They were 8-10 overall. They have won 5 of their last 7.
I mean, don't you think this is a team that could do some damage at the Big Ten women's tournament? You've got an experienced squad. So I'm not holding out hope that the Illini women can run the table maybe and try to get just have a good showing. Now, you'd still have to beat Ohio State probably. You'd still have, or Iowa with Caitlin, but it'd be fun.
They play
for this.
Caitlin this weekend, by the way.
Yeah, that's
in Iowa City.
Is that one on national TV? Because every one of her games is on national TV.
Probably is.
It's pretty cool that they show them, and I watch every one of them. I enjoy watching that team. I mean, I
Noon
love
on
watching
Sunday.
her, but is it Sunday?
Yep.
Okay, it might be a CBS game, which would be cool. I'm all right. I'm okay with that. Let's go.
For sure. But, yeah, back to the Illinois side. Illinois on the men's side probably has to win out to win the Big Ten, assuming Purdue doesn't drop another one. You look at their schedule. The Boilers will return home to play Rutgers. They go at Michigan. They host Michigan State. Then they're at Illinois and host Wisconsin, woof.
They're not winning,
Badgers.
right?
Oh, my goodness. Lost again over the weekend in Iowa City. It's always tough to go on the road, but to see them go from where they were, a fringe top 10 team in the country, to now having lost 5 of 6, I don't have a lot of confidence in Michigan State losing any of those other games. Purdue losing any of those other games, despite going on the road and losing Ohio State, where they definitely were not expected to. Illinois, they're still in the middle of a favorable stretch, in particular now that you got Maryland out of the way. You got at Penn State. By the way, Kanye Clary has been dismissed from the program. There's rumors we've heard about Doug McDaniel in academics, that Cleary's had some academic issues as well. So that's at least the rumor. I haven't heard or seen anything confirmed on that, but he's not going to be in the mix on Wednesday. Illinois will then host Iowa and Minnesota. Not gimme games, but games you should win.
Sure.
At Wisconsin, host Purdue, at Iowa. So,
and of course, we always have that little fear of at Wisconsin, right? But you've really turned that around quite well as well, lately for Brad's squad to go up to Madison. I know they got the win last year. Matt Meyer, I think, finally I remembered his name. He had a big, because I remember your interview with him.
That's right.
I think you had a great interview with Matt. And so, that was a big win for them last year. Of course, you think back to the Io shot and such. So,
and Kofi just annihilated them.
Yeah.
They would not. Stephen Crowell and those big guys inside that are kind of frail, and he just broke them in half.
He totally did. I'm with you, because if you look at Purdue, the only way they're probably going to lose is on the road, and there are only 2 road games at Michigan. We know what that is, and then of course here, which could actually happen. So it's just cool this late in the year, especially with as good of a team Purdue. We knew coming in was going to be one of the top-ranked teams, if not number one, which they have been a lot of the season. You just kind of felt like, I don't know that Illinois, as good as they are, is going to get a Big Ten title. But to be 6 games from the finish line, essentially, and have a shot and can kind of control your own destiny, hey, I'll sign up for that every year.
I definitely would.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I want to pitch this to both you and Kyle and kind of tie it back to what we saw on Saturday with the way that Terrence Shannon's been playing. Now, I mentioned his stat line offensively. Defensively, he had 4 blocks. He did a really good job on Jahmir Young. Our friend Isaac Trotter had a good tweet. He went back and watched every possession of Jahmir Young, his usage on Saturday, and I think he was 2 for 9 from the field against Shannon, and then did the rest of his damage, which would have been his 6 of his 8 makes on the rest of the Illini. So when Shannon was seeing him, he was able to make life tough for a first-team All-Big Ten guy. And that's what we talked about a week ago was, hey, Terrence is starting to pick some things up offensively, but defense has really been lacking. When would that come back around? Illinois still gave up 80 as a team, which
I agree.
I still have questions about this squad overall defensively. But what I'm getting at is, how much more confidence do you guys have in Illinois in this stretch run now that we're seeing this version of Shannon again? Because it felt like I wondered. I'm like, he's too good to just be a shell of himself the rest of the way. He'll pick it up at some point. Would he be that all-American alpha dog in a rhythm type of guy like he was before? As games went on, I started to maybe have more and more doubt. Never that I was like, okay, for sure it's not going to come back. But you just wonder with all that's weighed on his mind and what he goes into as far as road environments and everything. I at least had the thought. Now he looks like he will get back to that.
Well, and I'll let Kyle obviously expand on this, but I'm not breaking ground here with a statement, but when he goes downhill, that's when he's at his best. And it seemed like when he first came back, he wasn't getting downhill as much. And obviously defense has a lot to do with that in the terms of getting Illinois some transition points, and they were able to do that. And when he starts to do his shot out of a cannon and flies down, I still don't know how he does what he does sometimes, because it's like he can make himself real thin like a paper and sneak right between 2 guys while drawing a foul, while also executing the shot. I mean, his hang time is incredible, and even after getting bumped or something, he's able to just kind of just float and put it in. And so when he's downhill, I think that's incredible. I do have 2 things though, Kyle, before you go. That women's game Sunday is on FS1, so it is a nationally televised, which is cool. Although I guess everything's kind of nationally televised now, right?
Except for Peacock.
Well, yeah, except for Peacock, exactly. But so that'll be a chance to watch Illinois and Caitlin. Number 2, did Isaac by chance in his article mention if Jahmir Young was fouled like 12 times down the stretch? Because that's certainly what
I don't think he did.
Kevin Willard was all about. But no, listen, Colin, you can go with this one. I mean, when Shannon's on and when he's getting downhill like he has started to do again, especially against Maryland, then I think this team is a team that is destined for some really good things.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stars win in March usually.
Good call.
Usually the teams that go on a deep run have one guy who he's putting up 27, 28, 27. Like, you can a guy can carry you almost single-handedly. Not that Terrence really has to do that, because I'd throw in Damask and Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a ton of better trios in the country that you're going to see than those three, the way they're playing right now? But Shannon has to be the best of those guys because he's the most dynamic offensively. He's the guy that's going to draw the most attention. He's the guy that when he gets downhill, like you said, it opens everything up for everybody else, and it also allows Illinois to play faster when he gets out in transition. I thought they were playing a little too slow when he was out, and that's why you saw the offense bogged down a little bit. But now with him playing like this, I think it's going to be hard for anybody in Illinois' path to stop them offensively. The key is going to be, can he, along with other guys, defend? But Illinois' offense is one of the best in the country if he's playing like this. And I think Stars usually, when you think about the teams with the deep March runs, you have that one guy that kind of carries you through it.
Would agree, because if the rest of the team's slumping, Shannon's got a chance to carry you. And that's the good thing about this team. They have so many different ways they can beat you. Like you said, Derek, a minute ago, they didn't shoot that well from three, but yet they still scored how many? 80-plus points.
85.
Now, defensively, and Bill brings up a good point, I'm not going to believe it till they show they can defend real guards. Guards have hurt us, but guards have also hurt a lot of teams this season. I mean, you look around, Jameer Young's not being shut down very often. Tyson Walker's not being shut down very often.
Boo.
So, I mean, but I get Bill's point.
I agree with him, yeah.
Is that this defense has not been the same since Shannon left, and even the game against Maryland, it was still a little bit to be, a little bit more to be desired, I guess, on the defensive end. So I think that's the next step for Brad, and he doesn't need me to tell him that. He knows that this team has the ability to put up points. Now it's a matter of let's make sure we get it done on the other end, and that could make our season really special. The other thing too, real quick, like how those games in March. First of all, as a fan, you're just nervous as all get out, right? It's like, oh, here we go. It seems like sometimes in March Madness, a lot of times, like you get a one and done, right? You don't get a chance for a second shot. What I like about this Illinois team, and even Brad jumped Marcus Damask the other day after he had, 2 rebounds in the previous game, comes out and gets you a double-double with getting 11 or so rebounds. That's the thing that can really help if you're kind of having a cold shooting night a little bit. Being able to go rally or corral offensive rebounds and give yourself second chance points, that could be a big, big thing for Illinois down the stretch.
That's a big reason why you see them, as far as their efficiency, they're 5th in the country in offensive efficiency. They're 21st in offensive rebounding rate. They get back more than 35% of their misses.
Wow.
So that is part of what makes them so productive offensively, because they get multiple cracks at it when they don't make that first shot. So it's certainly a big asset. The ability for Shannon, now that he's back, to get to the free throw line, to get downhill. You look at the fast break points. They had 19. I know you mentioned that earlier. They had 19 against Maryland. They had 22 against Michigan.
Huge.
The squad was averaging about 6 or 7 a game in Shannon's absence. That's up to about 14.
Man.
So his presence has doubled what they're doing on the fast break. And if they find a way to get more stops, you imagine that would only provide more chances to run and get out in transition. I agree with Bill. Like, I still think that I'm wanting more from Ty Rodgers defensively. I'm wanting more from Justin Harmon defensively. I know that Luke Goody and Marcus Damask are liabilities. Goody in particular here recently. I know he's our guy, but he's struggling a little bit of late. Not playing his best. I've said it before. He's capable of playing better. And then as far as like making adjustments, that was one thing that I want to pivot to. I thought Brad did do some things differently in this game that helped Illinois. They trapped Julian Reese on a lot of his post-ups, especially like right off the bat, his first post entry, which you knew Maryland was going to go to on their first time down the floor. Shannon goes and traps him. They were able to knock the ball out of his hands a couple of times. And then they ultimately, it took a little while. Young cooked him for a good portion of that first half. Then they started blitzing him. They started sending Coleman and whoever was guarding Young at him to trap him. He ends up turning it over. That just kind of seemed to make him uncomfortable at some point. So having the ability to attack teams with different forms of defense, different buttons you can push, I think it's important versus kind of knowing when you have a guard that is that talented like Young, or have a mismatch where Coleman's not great at guarding the 5. You've got to be able to throw different stuff at people. And I think Brad and the staff were able to dial that up. I know it wasn't some kind of like innovative, like they invented the wheel or reinvented the wheel, however you say it. But to actually go out and do it, I thought they would, but you always wonder, hey, would maybe be a little bit too stubborn to change too much. I think that's important, especially when you talk about March, talk about adjustments. Yeah. I feel like people have brought that up before.
Well, I agree. And speaking of wheels, there's a lot of them about ready to get rolling here. Well, I feel like Brad finally flipped on 93.5 on the way home from Ubben one day. And he's like, oh, Derek's talking about maybe trapping the post. Oh, Kyle brings up a good point about doing that. Okay, I'm going to try it. And he did, and it worked. So maybe he's going to be listening
so that's
more
how it goes.
For those kind of things. You mentioned about Goody. Before this season's done, he's going to have an impact on a game, right? On a big game. And he is kind of, Goody's out there not necessarily to be your defensive stopper. We understand that. We like his effort on the rebounding side. He's just got to knock some shots down, and he knows that. And I think I read you wrote or someone wrote that he's 3 of his last 15 from 3.
Yes.
So
month of February through 15.
Yeah, that's not something that is normal for Luke Goody. So maybe, I think you also wrote, maybe, he's going to come out of that, and that's going to help Illinois here down the stretch. So, but there again, it speaks more to just you have so many different guys that can get it done on the offensive end. So it's not that end that I worry about.
Right.
It's the defensive end and the adjustments. And, Kyle, I'll let you talk to the adjustments. I think that is big that Brad showed that. And I think it's even bigger, Derek, that you pointed that out because too many times we rip on him, probably for good measure, about not making adjustments or teams making adjustments that Illinois do not react to. So I think it's good that you point out that he did that going into that game, and it was a big reason why Illinois won.
Yeah, well, it's just certain matchups I feel like you just have to kind of not be as stubborn. Like Maryland, you look at
That's
you look
the
at some of the
perfect way to say
guys.
it.
You look at some of the guys there, like Deshaun Harris-Smith, their freshman. If he shoots a wide open 3 on a possession, that's a win for Illinois' defense. You saw him clank one down the stretch there. Like Maryland has 2 guys that can beat you, and they're 2 guys that Illinois, in their base defensive scheme, really struggles with.
Yep.
A really quick, explosive guard and Julian Reese one-on-one on Coleman Hawkins. So it doesn't have to be every time. You can still play the matchups. You can still stay within kind of what your fundamentals are if you're Brad Underwood. But against a team like Maryland or a certain matchup in the tournament, you just gotta adjust based on who you're playing. That's all I wanted to see.
I think it's cool. Like Derek, you mentioned about Illinois having 3 guys that can really do a lot of damage. I mean, I would throw Scott in there with Maryland as well. But it's kind of interesting to go through. You go like Purdue. With Edey, obviously, Lance Jones has been huge for them. And then the little point guard who
Braden Smith,
Braden Smith, who's playing exceptional this year, especially late. And you kind of go through that. Wisconsin, you got A.J. Storr. You've got probably
Hepburn,
and then maybe who's 5? Wall.
Tyler Wall, yeah.
I mean, would be maybe their other dude, but they need all 8 to win. And they do. I mean, that's not. I'm not ripping them for
just
that.
Not recently,
right? I don't think they have the firepower of those other 3 that we've talked about.
Even Northwestern with Bowie, Barnheiser, and before his injury, Ty Berry, but even Ryan Langborg.
Yep. You've got to have that third guy. If you're going to be competing at a high level, you've got to have that third guy that can do damage. And certainly Illinois' got it. So it's fun,
Or
man.
you can just wear the Fear of God uniforms. And
how horrific were those?
Those are disgusting, dude. What is up with the uniform and jersey business?
I don't.
Fanatics messing up these baseball uniforms, and now we got whatever the heck that was.
People must buy them.
I don't know.
I mean, what's
Indiana
funny is
certainly acted like it was a big deal, but
oh boy, what's funny is like these Nike and Adidas, they spend so much money, so they feel like, well, we got to do something different. We got to keep crossing the line, not crossing the line to bad. I'm just like we can't just stick to the standard.
Yeah,
it's
right.
got to be something different. And for a fan like me, I never even care about uniform. I don't care as long as I know which ones my team is wearing and they have some semblance of a color to what I like and know, like the orange. Then I'm like, I don't care what is said on the uniform. I know baseball went to that, where do they still do that where they have a home game during a certain weekend and they
put the nicknames on the back?
Yeah, they put the nickname, which at first I fought it because I'm to the traditional old man yelling at people.
Fine.
But yeah, then I kind of, I'm like, you know what? Those are actually pretty cool. So
I don't know why I've kind of been sour that the Cardinals don't have like an alternate red jersey. I like that they brought back the powder blues to wear every once in a while. I like I'm not you can only wear white or you only wear gray. But if you're going to have an alternate jersey, make it look good.
I know.
Like Illinois' throwbacks or the white script.
Oh, see, I love those.
Which I know they've mostly been done before in the past. But the Indiana thing.
I like the scripts. I do. Kyle, are you getting fired up? They're about ready to go green in Daytona. I know he's fired up.
I wish I knew what that even meant.
Well, they're going to throw the green flag down and go. We're going racing. Kyle, if you can move your head a little bit more, well, that means we're starting the race, baby. Let's go. Lap cars out. Let's go.
Kyle, can you press your face against the soundboard for the rest of the show? That's what Lon's asking.
I told Derek on the way in, I said, hey, if I go quiet for a little bit, it's just that I'm watching the Daytona and I'm trying not to curse because my drivers went to the wall.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's it. Hey, and Sean said red would be sick for the Cardinals. That would be cool. Because spring training, it seems like they do a lot of red.
They have. I think they've just changed that this year where they're not going to wear they haven't been wearing those red like BP uniforms.
Okay.
They're messing up uniforms left and right here recently.
I remember a giveaway that no longer even comes close to fitting me. They gave away like a red, jersey that had the holes in it or whatever.
Yeah, like the mesh.
Yeah, the mesh. That's the word I was looking for instead of that had the holes in it. But that was a cool jersey. I think my boys wear it now, mine. But I mean, that's a cool look. I like that. They always go with like the different hat. Remember they had the Sunday hat that had the red bill and the blue top, and then the red bird on it. That was kind of reddish. But yeah, they don't do much on the uni side, which is crazy. I'm with you there.
The Cubbies don't change it up a ton either. Although I like their spring training cap. It's got the Cubby bear on it.
Oh, does
Have
it?
you seen it, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that Cubby bear logo. I wish they kind of incorporated that a little more.
I like the traditional Cubs uniform. The pinstripe kind of white.
I do too.
I mean,
I like
that.
The blue alternate too.
Yeah.
I just kind of wish the Cubs just have never really had like that alternate that they bring out every once in a while for one series, other than the City Connects, which everyone does. There's some cool like older throwback uniforms that they just never venture out in any of those. It's just the home white and the road blues.
And see, I like that. Which is
it.
boring, probably.
I wish they would just throw like one other little alternate in there.
You know what our teams need to do is start winning first, and then we'll worry about our uniform.
Cubs should sign a free agent and present a new uniform in the introductory press conference.
I agree, 100%. Hey, yeah, John, good call. Salukis knocked off Indiana State. Poor Sycamores, man.
Oh, boy.
They got to 23rd and then lost abruptly lost two straight, including one at SIU.
Illinois State beat them there.
Yep.
And then they lost at SIU.
And went to the dog pound, and good luck there. SIU did play Drake well on the road recently, which gives me a little hope for that Missouri Valley Conference tournament down in St. Louis. So we'll see. Good basketball, though.
I was going to add, on the note of needing to win more, can you imagine, I should have mentioned this before we pivoted away, but on the note of the jerseys one more time, like if you're an Indiana fan and you're watching during the Bob Knight era, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they say, do you want to see a flasher into the future? You're like, yeah, sure, let's see what it looks like. How many more of those banners do we got out there? Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about those.
I just want to tell you, so Indiana basketball, these are your uniforms. You don't have a shooter. And you're about to miss the tournament for the 5th time in the last 7 years.
Wow. I never would have when I was Kyle's age, if you would have told me at some point in your life Indiana's going to become basically almost non-existent at basketball for a stretch, I would be like, no way. I mean, they're going through what Illinois did for a while. Not making tournaments.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just a team that is very beatable, whether they're at home or on the road. Yeah, they've lost a lot of luster in that program.
I agree.
And I don't lose sleep over it. I can promise you that. I promise you that.
Well, they're off and rolling at Daytona. We do have a question. Mark Aslan, do you know what NASCAR stands for?
I know it's like stock car racing. How about NA?
National Association.
National Association makes
stock
sense.
Car. I'm guessing here.
That's Stock Car Auto Racing. We got our first. We got our first. See, I can't do this. I can't watch.
National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing.
Okay, there you go. There's a handful of cars that are just in the grass right here and beat up.
This live commentary is going to be just
I know,
golden.
I'm horrible at it. I have always been bad at any kind of a play-by-play, so you don't need me. I can't comment on everything that happens at Daytona. I'm going to have to quit watching, to be honest with you.
No, it's fine.
I don't think any of the huge names maybe got knocked out, so.
We do have to quit talking. We got to catch a break here. If you want to weigh in, you can. 217-359-2255 on the U of I Atlanta Link text line. We've had plenty already. We'll get to those as we go along. Hit us up. Uniform thoughts, Illinois over Maryland, and the like. I want to talk a little bit more, obviously, Big Ten, big picture.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit bunched up behind Illinois, and depending on how some things fall, different results. I want to ask you guys, too, Big Ten Coach of the Year is an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What would Illinois have to do for Brad Underwood to win it? Who else is in the mix? Obviously, would Matt Painter win it just if Purdue is able to get that Big Ten title for the second year in a row? I want to talk about that a little bit when we return. So,
Brad's never won it, right?
He has not.
Yeah.
Despite being the winningest Big Ten coach over the last 4 seasons, he has not won Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I hadn't put those two together, in that same thought. Interesting. All right. Well, I've got some thoughts on all that.
All right. We'll get to that when we return. This is The Drive.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
PDR Automotive has now been serving the Champaign-Urbana area for over 50 years. To give you some perspective, 50 years ago ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and it was when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. So what does that mean for you and your vehicle? Whether you need a carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at PDRauto.com, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
A tradition of excellence over 150 years in the making. At Busey Bank, we're committed to building relationships that span generations. Wherever your journey in life leads you, we are with you along the way, creating a legacy for you and your family. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
BMW, Buick, GMC, Honda, and Subaru. Welcome to Sarah Champagne. We can handle all your car repairs on site, including paintless dent repair, bumpers, windshields, everything in between. We have an amazing selection of new or pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Shop from home and buy online or reserve your vehicle before it hits our website or dealership. Sarah Champagne is home of the Sarah One Price Promise, delivering an honest and transparent buying experience. Hurry in or shop online at sarahchampagne.com.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. Take a look around your home. Is it finally ready for some much-needed updates? If you don't know where to start, then just meet with one of our experts. We'll help you find the perfect waterproof plank floor for your kitchen or that stain-resistant, super soft carpet for your bedroom. Finish your room update with a custom sofa and chairs, or choose a trendy in-stock dining set that's priced right. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars, here's my price, and you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
2 Men in a Truck has been recognized as a trusted leader in the moving industry for over 35 years. Now we are proud to offer that same reliability to junk removal, introducing 2 Men and a Junk Truck to the Champaign area. Our goal at 2 Men and a Junk Truck is to help you make room for what matters most. We can make your garage, attic, basement, house, or business look bigger with our furniture or appliance removal. Contact us today at 2menjuncktruck.com.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. 217 says, Lon, did you and your buddies watch Ohio State knock off Purdue, then switch over to watch Ricky Bobby? We did.
Do you know? That's awesome. Do you know what we finally did? We started doing some dice games and all of that, but we brought up the 1988 Daytona 500, and we were having some fun with it. You know, I was like, Davey Allison, you know, leads the crew into the finish line with an average lap speed of 84 miles an hour. They're flying at Daytona. It's funny to see, like, back then you had, like, Oldsmobile and, you know, all the different. So that's what we did. We're so geeky, we pulled up the 88 Daytona 500. I don't even think we finished it. We just started watching it.
Oldsmobile car? Wow.
Oldsmobile, baby. That was who was in that? Richard Petty, I think, was in that. He got taken out early in that race, and it's like, whoa.
So when my grandma was driving around an Oldsmobile back when I was a kid because she was racing?
Those Oldsmobiles, you know, they were built like tanks. You couldn't hurt them, right? So it's like, oh, boy. Yeah, I can remember. What did we have? We had a Parisienne was my first car I ever drove, a blue Parisienne that had Neil Tay license plates. I mean, tell me I'm not picking women up in that thing for dates, you know? And then it would be like that car, if I brought it in this studio right now, would not fit in this room, I don't think. That's how big it was. I think my dad was more like, listen, I'm not worried about you getting hurt in this thing. Just don't hurt anybody in this tank. So that's awesome. They watched Ricky Bobby. Let's go.
I like it. Lon, you'll have to rely on him for the racing updates. But I think you'll just hear in his commentary.
I was going to say, I think Burton's out, and who was the other one? We don't even know how to say his name. You were on that. Carson, is it Hocevar? So no big names necessarily. Is that Burton? Is that Ward's son? Ward Burton? No, go ahead.
I don't know. On the note of the Big Ten, Child Chase, and also Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Through the years, to refresh everybody's mind, here's the last 4 winners of the Big Ten Coach of the Year award. Chris Collins last year, of course, making the tournament for the second time ever in school history. Greg Gard won it in 20 and 21, which was the year that Wisconsin and Illinois shared the Big Ten title, but Gard got the – usually it's, of course, based on preseason expectations in comparison to what you actually go do. The 2021 season, the COVID year, Juwan Howard winning not only Big Ten Coach of the Year, but National Coach of the Year as well. Greg Gard won it in 1920. That was a three-way tie for first in the Big Ten between Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Maryland. Greg Gard got that one as well. Do you know what Brad Underwood's record is against the last 4 Coach of the Year award winners?
Oh.
Again, Greg Gard twice, Juwan Howard once, Chris Collins once.
Oh, this has got to be interesting. Well, we know he's 8-0 against Howard.
Mm-hmm.
So let's
how about over the last 4+ seasons when Illinois has been good?
Okay,
what has he done against these guys? I think during the seasons that we're talking about. So since the 1920 season when Gard won it, then Howard, then Gard, then Collins.
They probably haven't played exactly 32 games total against these 4, but I'll go with that number. I'll go with like 22 and 10.
22 and 10. Kyle, do you have a guess? I'll try to give you the
probably better than that.
Can you give me the total amount of games?
Played 10
fair.
against Collins, 8 against Howard, 6 against Gard.
Mm.
So
24
games.
Oh, I was thinking 4. That's my fault.
24 games against those 3.
Okay, let me redo mine too.
During that span.
So 24.
I think I know
the last
it, but
4+
I want to let Lon
seasons.
guess first.
I'll go 18 and 6.
Okay.
I think his only 2 losses are the 2 to Collins, 22 and 2.
Is that right? He hasn't lost a Gard?
Not during that stretch. You were on the money, Kyle. During that stretch, the last 4+ seasons, Brad Underwood is 8-2 against Chris Collins.
Wow.
8-0 against Juwan Howard. 6-0 against Greg Gard.
Oh my! That's How do you know that, Kyle? I mean, come on.
I knew he was undefeated against Juwan.
Do you study? Do you have anything other than sports on your tablet and whatever things you guys
He doesn't actually
use?
go to school here. You guys know that, right?
You know, I think that's exactly. Kyle lives in he's got this little trailer that he lives in Ogden, Illinois, and it's there's 6 TVs constantly showing sporting events, and he's got 4 computers up reading every sports paper that is ever published.
He's killing it.
And he knows everything except I don't know. Do you know the Blues backup goalie?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know anything about this NASCAR race going on.
Oh, that's true. Okay, well, I got you.
Can help me on that one.
So, guys,
oh, man.
What would have to happen for Brad to finally win Coach of the Year? Do they need to share the Big Ten title?
Yes. Yeah, they would have to. Either share it or win it outright.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that is because I think even now, from the beginning until now, everybody just assumed Purdue was going to win this thing. And I know Wisconsin kind of had their run that kind of caused a little bit of a stir, and now they've had their run the other way. And Illinois is just kind of hanging in there. But I think if they tied – and this is why this is the least important award that has ever been given in the history, because like you said, you're either expected to do really well and you do well so you get punished, or you're expected, like Matt Painter this year is expected to win the Big Ten, and if for some reason Illinois would tie him, then all the votes would go to Brad Underwood because they'd be like, well, we can't give it to Matt because his team should have won it outright. It's like, I just won a Big Ten title, which he would take over any Coach of the Year award. So, I don't know. I've just never been a fan of the Coach of the Year because
do they ever give it
hurts the coach that's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I was going to say, have they ever given it to a guy like Painter this year who just won the conference he's supposed to win with the roster that came back?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like if Purdue wins, let's say they win this thing by 2 games over Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't Matt Painter be Coach of the Year? But yet then everybody's going to say, well, but they've got Edey and they've got this. And, I mean, he had to bring in – he has 2 still young guards that I know got a lot of play last year. And then he's got Lance Jones, who he brought in. I mean, that you got to give him credit for that, going out to the portal and identifying a guy like Lance Jones, who's been huge for that team. And then, I don't know. I mean, I know it's easy to coach a guy like Zach Edey, but there's still that expectation and that pressure on you to make sure that Zach Edey's not getting beat up every game. And I know what people think of that he gets a lot better treatment than Kofi ever did. So, I feel like probably Matt goes into every game with the argument of my big man's going to get beat up like Brad did with Kofi. And so from the opening tip, I've got to start complaining about my guy getting beat up. And that can't be fun to do. Like, I would not enjoy that as a coach. So, yeah, I don't know. I think if Purdue won by like 2 to 3 games, I think it should go to Painter as the coach of the year. Because, I mean, I understand like Minnesota. Well, that's great that Minnesota's done what they've done, but don't be so bad. Like, don't come in with everybody thinking you're going to suck. And then, it's cool what Fred Hoiberg's done with Nebraska. That's great, but you're still going to finish like 4th or 5th, so what the hell does that matter? So I don't know. It's just
I also wonder, Painter's already won it 4 times.
Has he really?
Which is credit to him, obviously, but will that be on top of another log on the fire for voters to say, do we want to give it to Matt again? It does feel like there's almost been a little bit of a too far correction to give it to an underdog type of situation.
Agreed.
Now, like, I'm not going to say that like Chris Collins didn't deserve it last year. His team went 12-8 in Big Ten play. They had a good year.
Yeah, but that's almost like the feel-good story.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, well, Northwestern never makes it, and they did, so we're going to – well, how about not ever making it? How about make it more often so we don't have to – it's just, that's the stuff that I just don't ever like the Coach of the Year award. Who's the last Illinois coach to win Coach of the Year?
I would imagine it was 04-05, Bruce Weber.
Bruce Weber.
Yep. Before that, Henson won it in 92-93. They only went 11-7 in Big Ten play that year.
That's weird. Did Self, he never won it?
Nope.
So Illinois, in the last of the coaches they've had, have only won 3 times. Twice. And Illinois had some good basketball teams in the meantime.
They have.
I know they had that stretch, but.
Tom Izzo has won it, let's see, 3 times. Is that it? Izzo's won it 3 times. Painter's won it 4. Gene Katie's the highest I'm seeing here. He won it 7 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Bob Knight won it 5 times.
Yeah. Back then, maybe they just did. Whoever won the league gets the. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a fun argument, or it's a fun conversation, but I don't think the coaches care, and I don't think they just want their teams to do well.
I wonder though if there's probably an incentive in Brad's contract.
Probably. Not quite as good as the UConn football coach.
I would say not. No.
If you win the coin toss, we're going to pay you $1,000.
On that note, Minnesota, not on the note of coin tosses at UConn, but on the note of the coach of the year, Minnesota 7-7 in the league. They're 6th or 7th in the Big Ten. Yeah, middle of the pack team winning, even though they were projected to be.
If they were going to make the tournament,
dead last.
If they're going to make the tournament, a team that goes from predicted to be last to NIT,
yeah,
I don't know.
It is though. To Lon's point, Ben Johnson, good job. You actually earned the money they're paying you. You're going to save your job. You actually are doing, for the first time since you've been at Minnesota, a decent job of being the coach of Minnesota. Here's the award for the best coach of the year. Like that does seem dumb.
I mean, they might not even make the NCAA tournament. No,
they're not.
You would give him the coach of the year and the
Hoiberg. Nebraska's been pretty good. They're 8-7. They're going to probably make the tournament, right? It's not a for sure thing.
They're win a road game probably.
Well, they got Indiana on.
They're fun to watch too.
Of course.
That's a fun team to watch.
I think you could throw the argument in for Brad that his All-American player got taken from him mid-season, kept the team afloat. They went 4-2 without him. Get him back, and now they're going to finish clear-cut second in the Big Ten, maybe share the title.
That's a good point. Well, and how much different is this team than last year?
And he went out and got 3 transfers that have fit perfectly.
Coleman's the only one that played a lot last year. I know Goody was hurt. Oh, and Shannon. I'm sorry. Yeah. Other than that,
right.
So, does that factor in? Do you factor in kind of the
it would be nice to reward the offseason, like piecing together of the roster, not only coaching up what you have, but actually going out and getting the pieces.
Like the NFL, I think, has general manager of the year, right? They have awards for that. That's what these guys are now.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Brad, half of his job is being a GM and going out and getting portal guys. It's just it's crazy how it's changed.
Throw in that everybody killed him all offseason for not getting a point guard. He's got the number 5 offense in the country.
You guys were idiots for that.
Oh, wow.
I said you don't need a point guard to win.
No, you did.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say that. And I still, if you get in crunch time, I might wonder a little bit. But so far, yeah, they've been a fantastic offense. That has not been their issue. Guarding point guards, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, definitely there.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, somebody sent us a picture of Brad at the women's game today, and he's got the old, looks like the hockey jersey on.
Oh, nice.
The Illinois. Is that just like the ultimate tease? We have these hockey jerseys that we just don't have a team.
It would be fun to have one.
Oh, my goodness. People would eat it up.
Yeah.
Would eat it up. It would be incredible.
Too bad.
All right, we better take a break.
We do need one. We'll play a little bit of Brad Underwood from after the win, 85-80 in College Park over the weekend. Talk some more basketball as well, and I want to get out the new projection as far as the bracket. How much did Illinois help themselves? There was the bracket reveal, at least the seeding reveal on Saturday. Touch on that. A lot more to do. Got to catch a break. It is The Drive.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Vehicles.
The original plan by the EPA was to make 67% of new car sales electric vehicles by 2032. By comparison, last year, just over 7% of new car sales were EVs. So they were shooting for a 60% jump in less than a decade, something that major automakers warned was too ambitious. The group representing GM, Ford, and Toyota called the goal at the time not reasonable or achievable.
Fox Business's Hillary Vaughn at the White House. There are reports the EPA may slow the pace of new requirements. The United Auto Workers Union, which has endorsed the president's reelection bid, raised concern about the EV push potentially costing them jobs during a strike last year. Police in Texas are following leads and asking the public for more tips in the search for 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham, who went missing near her home last week. 42-year-old Stephen McDougal named as a person of interest.
McDougal resides in a camper behind the residence where Audrey lives with her father, grandparents, and other family. The family does have a relationship with McDougal.
Lieutenant Craig Cummings with the Texas Department of Public Safety says McDougal was arrested Friday on an unrelated assault charge, and investigators are giving him a chance to cooperate. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, you're up next. My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight.
Here, try these.
Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks Vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
2 suspects in custody in connection with the deaths of 2 children in Colorado.
Pueblo police say 35-year-old Jesus Dominguez and 36-year-old Karina Rose Minares have been charged with murder and abuse of a corpse, each held on a $2 million bond. The charges come after officials discovered the remains of 9-year-old Yesenia Dominguez encased in concrete within a metal container in a storage unit. 2 weeks later, finding the remains of 10-year-old Jesus Dominguez Jr. in a suitcase in the trunk of a car. The vehicle, which belonged to Minares, left in a scrapyard outside Denver. According to police, Dominguez is the children's father. Minares, his partner, is not related, explaining the children had been missing since 2018, but no missing persons report was ever filed. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Minnesota's governor ordering flags at half-staff today in honor of the 3 first responders, 2 police officers and a paramedic, killed yesterday after responding to a domestic violence call in Burnsville, a Twin Cities suburb, where a vigil was held last night.
Hundreds gathering for a candlelight vigil.
Have sunlight too.
They never got to go back home, and it's very, very sad to me.
Firefighter-paramedic Adam Finseth was raised in Rochester and was a U.S. Army veteran serving in Iraq. Officer Matthew Ruge was a trained crisis negotiator. And finally, the Christian university where Officer Paul Elmstrand went to college, tragically sharing that he leaves behind a wife, a 2-year-old daughter, and 5-month-old son.
Courtney Godfrey with Fox TV affiliate KMSP. Police say a gunman who'd been barricaded eventually opened fire and was later found dead. Just getting word, the FBI and Britain's National Crime Agency teamed up to disrupt a notorious cybercrime gang. That gang's website now under the control of investigators. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign and Penn Saturday. And the look and feel for a change of midwinter time across the area, coming off anywhere between 3 and 5 inches of snow across the area, much lesser to the north and northwest. Some spots down towards Effingham at 7.5, and a couple of reports of thunder down there on Friday's snow event. Well, plenty of belting and thawing this afternoon of the same with a sunny sky. Southwest to south breezes will be light and high to about 41. Not so cold tonight, but certainly plenty of that melt water will firm on up. Maybe an area of frost and freeze that will accrete on some of the colder surfaces as well. Perhaps some patchy frost as we get to it, and a low down to 26 tomorrow. Mostly sunny and 48. South winds pick on up. We'll stay above freezing here for tomorrow night, and a breezy and milder Wednesday at 57. Bit of rain and 52 on Thursday. So the end of the week still early spring-like. Slight cooling for the weekend in the 40s. 50s next Sunday. 60s next week. For Stevie Day Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
It is the Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. I am itching for baseball, guys. Every day forward. This weekend we'll have spring training.
Yeah.
We're that much closer.
I saw Tom Ackerman tweet out, "You made it. It's the last weekend you have to go without Cardinals baseball."
I know.
Let's go. Last year, that was kind of I got tired of watching them.
I stopped probably mid to late July.
Yeah, I did too. I say that. I said last year I hardly watched them at all. I'm ready this year, though.
No doubt. I even dabbled on the college baseball side over the weekend. It was fun to check out. I saw some of Illinois' game against number 1 Wake Forest. Pitchers duel early. Logan Tabling for Illinois was hanging right head-to-head with Chase Burns, who is one of the top prospects in all of college baseball. He was a transfer from Tennessee, that being Burns, throws upper 90s, can touch 100.
Wow.
MLB.com has him as the 5th overall prospect in college right now, maybe the top pitcher, and he throws smoke. He was able to, I think he only gave up, he went 6 innings, struck out 10.
Wow.
Maybe he gave up 1 hit, or maybe it was another one mixed in there as well. But Illinois at the plate had a tough time, understandably so, but Tabling struck out 7 of the first 2 innings.
Dang.
Struck out the side in the first, and then in the second, there was a drop third.
Oh.
So he ended up striking 4 guys out in the second inning.
Got it.
But got in some trouble. I think it was in the 4th inning, walked a couple, ended up giving him a grand slam. Nick Kurtz, the first baseman for Wake, is maybe the top prospect in all of college baseball. Hit a home run from the left side, power bat. Saw him getting comped to Matt Olson by some people. So I saw some of that game. Illinois on the whole, they won yesterday. I think they beat Fordham.
Okay.
They split with, was it Akron in the first?
That's some high-level football scheduling when we decide to schedule Kansas, the worst team that's ever played football, and then all of a sudden they're good. Did we know that we were going to get Wake Forest and the best pitcher and hitter in the country?
Because you went to the Wake Forest invite.
Yeah.
They were hosting it. I don't know how far ahead they schedule these things. Wake was good last year. I think they were in the College World Series.
They're usually
didn't make
good,
the final, but preseason number 1. They split with Akron on Friday. They lost to Wake on Saturday. 5-2 isn't bad.
No.
and then beat Fordham yesterday 9-1.
Didn't the girls softball, the women's softball team, they lost like 18-1 in their first game?
They're off to a rough start.
It's been a little rough with that program. Yeah. And, Dan's got to get some stuff done.
They got to get to the tournament again.
Agree. And it would be nice to get there. And, yeah, it's just good to see baseball, though, and softball.
Yeah, for sure.
Just get it rolling.
I don't know how much you prioritize hitters from Canada as much as basketball players from Canada.
The only one I know would be Larry Walker.
Ah, yeah.
That's, I think, the only guy.
That's a good one. But the freshman, Cameron Shee Alloy for Hartlib squad. I want to get Hartlib on at some point.
Yeah, we need
to talk about the start of this season. But freshman out of Canada hits 3 home runs in the opening weekend.
What?
For the Illini.
Wow. What part of Canada does it say?
Efforting.
I'm interested in case I've been fishing there.
Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, okay. Home of the Hockey Hall of Fame.
5'9" outfielder.
5'9", and he's
some pop. 2 home runs. Home run against Akron in the first game and in the second game, and then homered against Fordham yesterday.
He must be a stocky dude, is what I'm going to guess.
I don't know.
Does he look like Tyler O'Neill there?
He looks like Tommy Edman, 5'9", 167.
Does he really? And he's popping home runs?
Popped 3 home runs.
That's awesome, man. He's no Kyle Schwarber, but that's still solid.
Yep. And if you can't tell, I did nerd out a little bit. Mississippi State, by the way, if you're interested, has a ambidextrous pitcher.
Really?
Who throws from the right side against righties, left side against lefties.
Oh, my gosh.
Kind of crazy.
Now, that's been done before, right?
It has. I don't know by who.
Wow. Can you imagine being that good to be able to do that?
No.
And then I'd probably sit there at night going, gosh, maybe I just should concentrate on one side.
You would imagine if he got to the professional, like if he was in the minor league system or like a top prospect for somebody, that they would want him to specialize. Just knowing how much work would go in. Like, all right, you worked. I know you're not going to throw 3 hours maybe straight because your arm might fall off. But
right.
everything you do from the right side, then you might, everybody else might go home to their bullpens. You got to do it from the left side type thing. There's so much specialty to it.
It would be incredible to have that coming out of the pen.
But to have that, yeah.
But how would you warm up? Like, let's say you got 20 warm-up tosses in the pen. Do you go 10 right, 10 left, I guess?
So, yeah.
I did not know that.
What would be cool is if you have, because I was like inspecting the glove. I was like, does he have an ambidextrous glove? I think he just gets a new one from they probably throw one from the dugout. When a lefty comes up, they throw it. I would imagine. I didn't watch. I saw only the highlights of it.
Oh, my Lord. These young kids today would hate that. That would drag a game
the
on
pitch
another.
Clock and everything. But if you had the glove that could do both, imagine changing it up in a bat.
Oh yeah, that would.
What if you had a really good slider on the left side, and then something different from the right? That would be really
interesting. That would be. Josh just said Justin Morneau was a Canadian. The old Twins.
That's right.
Jeff said, hey, guys, great show. Thank you, Jeff. Speaking of the Cardinals, will 93.5 carry countdown to opening day again this year? We need to ask Rob that. I assume, I'll put it this way, Jeff, if the Cardinals do that, then I think we will carry it. And I know we carry the weekend, unless that's changed, we've always carried the weekend spring training games, the radio call. So I don't think the Cubs allow us to do it. Kyle's over there smirking.
Other famous players from Canada, Joey Votto.
Oh, that's right.
You also have Vladdy Jr.
Oh, well.
Probably born there while his dad was playing.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah.
I knew Votto, but I didn't.
Fergie Jenkins.
Really?
Yeah, 2 Hall of Famers from Canada, Fergie Jenkins and Larry Walker.
Well, that's cool. Kyle, do you know who Fergie Jenkins played for?
The Chicago Cubs.
I was testing your history.
I got a picture of him. Me, my brother, and my dad got a picture with him at Cubs spring training when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
He was I have always heard he was just such a wonderful man. Great guy. Fergie, what a name, too. Fergie Jenkins.
Eric Gagne, also a Canadian.
Gagne. Good closer, right?
Yes.
For the Dodgers. He was really good for about 2 years. I mean, just like couldn't touch him for like 2 years. That's interesting that Ferguson Jenkins is from Canada.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Matt on the U of I Atlantic League text line. The pitcher that threw from both sides had a double thumb glove. Okay.
Makes sense
All
then.
right. Yeah, we're all about tempo and pitch clock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an idiot for thinking they went to the dugout. Give me my lefty glove.
Maybe they just let him keep a glove behind the bowl or behind the mound, you know. Just
right.
Right there with the cleat cleaner.
Josh says that Gagne's brother was a hockey goalie in NHL.
Look at Josh is
Things-
like I
things
didn't know,
you know.
Josh was a Canadian expert.
He's a buff.
Canadian sports expert.
Knows everything you need to know about Steve Nash.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, Canada, man, they've produced some solid athletes. As they should. They're just not all hockey people up there. So that's cool. Larry Walker, man, was so good. Those Colorado teams, I know we've talked about
That was the
this
midseason trade, right, for the Cardinals?
Yes. But when he played with the Rockies,
oh boy,
and you had Dante Bichette, was he a Canadian? That name sounds Canadian. Does it not, or is that am I
Dante
Bichette? Does that maybe it doesn't? And then Helton, who's like
Todd Helton,
was the starting quarterback over Peyton Manning at Tennessee until they realized he shouldn't be.
Bichette's from Palm Beach, Florida. So.
Well, about as far away from Canada as you can get. That makes a lot of sense, Lon. Good job.
It's all right.
That would be cool. Josh, curling is my jam. Jeremy Werner, a big curling fan.
Is that right?
Yeah, he
Never knew that.
Really got into it in the Olympics one year.
Huh.
I think it was because the Swedish team was. I think maybe there were some other alternatives.
Okay.
Not alternatives, but what's the word I'm looking for there? There
Ulterior motives.
Ulterior motives, yeah. Yep.
John Chase and Sidney Brown from Canada. Yep.
Good call.
Of course.
Good call.
Quincy Guerrier from Canada.
Yes.
Needs to play a little bit better.
I'm telling you, if Illinois was ever going to win a national title, this is the year, right? And they followed Lante's script. And I should get a lot of credit for it.
Shooter from Indiana.
Got a shooter from Indiana.
Player from Canada.
Yep.
A lot of lefties.
A lot of lefties. I mean, yes.
Although only one lefty playing.
That's prominent, yeah.
Yeah, Shannon. Sincere redshirting.
Mm-hmm. But it's still a lefty.
Yeah, of course. Your star player is a
That's
lefty.
your star player,
Yeah, so,
yeah, I
okay,
mean,
yeah,
so-
that makes up for the fact of the volume.
Yeah.
Not the same when Trent Frazier and Alfonso Plummer were here.
Correct. But it's everything I've
You got
always
everything
wanted.
you need.
Yep. Let's go win it.
Can I bring up one thing that I should have on the note of this game? I'm saying on the note all the time. I don't know why. I'm not even. I don't know. It's weird. Hate when you catch yourself saying things over and over again. Like I said, to this day, I
do
covered
it.
John Gross how many years ago, and I still say obviously all the time. I'm like, if it's obvious.
I think we all have our.
He started every press conference with obviously.
Oh, he did.
I
didn't
picked
he?
it up.
Some people started with like yes. Like you'll be
Like,
like,
yeah.
Marcus. You got a chance. Get kind of this rebounding. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Blah blah blah. That's kind of how they start things. Hey, McDowell's your leader. Remember a couple of years ago we had his McDowell won the Daytona 500 and we had his crew chief on.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was pretty cool.
It was.
Blickensderfer, was that his name? He's from like Cerro Gordo.
Sounds familiar. Yes.
Or Decatur area, Mount Zion. Yeah.
But I didn't give any. Okay, sorry to pivot off that. I didn't give any love to Justin Harmon, which we should have.
Oh, yes.
Don't say it. In relation to this game,
on that note,
Justin Harmon has displayed a knack here recently of making some tough buckets late.
That drive he had was clutch.
It was big time, and then also
he elevated on that thing.
Yeah.
It was almost, not that he can't jump. I mean, obviously. You know one of the coolest things that Justin Harmon did? When he went flying into the crowd and he took out a girl photographer and he sat there and the first thing he did you see that?
I
he
did.
looked at her and he's like, "Are you okay? I'm sorry about that." I thought that was really cool. I knew we could get back to the shot, which is probably more important, but I just thought it was kind of a cool glimpse into, you can just tell he's a nice kid if he's doing something like that instead of not worrying about it.
Better than the Matthew Stafford at the Super Bowl
Go.
parade.
That girl just fell. What should we do? Run! Should we not help? No. I'm Matthew Stafford, man.
Bad look.
That was really bad.
Not good.
By the way, Kyle, I'll throw a little tidbit at you. Denny Hamlin has won the Daytona 500 3 times, and he's currently running second. Now, we're way early in this one because the big one will happen soon. Maybe not soon, but it'll happen in the next couple hours. You know what the big one is? The big wreck. You know restrictor plates, Kyle?
No, I do not.
So if you notice, because I know you don't watch any other races, Daytona and the super speedways like Talladega, et cetera, they all run in a bunch. Do you see that? Like
Yes.
you've seen that. So that's like they have restrictor plates that they have to have somebody with them essentially to get up to the speed they need to be. So you got to run in bunches as opposed to like a Martinsville, let's say, where you'll see them spread out a little bit more. So there's always a big wreck because all it takes is one dude to slip up, and then they're all bunched together, and you'll lose like 16 guys on one lap. So they always call it the big one. There you go.
I'm excited for next year when Kyle goes back at you. It's like, actually, the science behind it says that you want to do the flying V.
Next year, that'll be next week.
More than the bunch. Right. The bunch formation's old school. It's kind of like the wing T in football. The spread with
the goose,
yeah,
how the geese fly
the
through the
geese
air.
V.
Yeah, the Hendricks Motorsports will come up with that one.
Yeah, there's a reason the birds line. Have you ever looked up in the sky? We're a little goofy today.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Adam with a good call here. I always say it's interesting. And then I
Yeah.
say the word different every time. Interesting. I do that and et cetera.
I feel like it's all right. Brad Underwood gives, I think, 5 different pronunciations for Marcus Damask. Domask.
Damask. Yeah, it's Damask.
Can we mention, before we catch a break and hear from Brad Underwood, that play that Harmon was involved in, but also Damask?
Yes.
Where Coleman Hawkins saves the ball out of bounds, although almost just led Jameer Young into a fast break by heaving it over his head. Jameer Young gets it at half court, beats Harmon down the floor. Damask is there, though, to contest, doesn't foul, which
was huge.
Maybe one of the ones that Willard was potentially complaining about.
He was definitely
wasn't a
straight
foul.
up.
Yeah,
he was going backwards.
It was great, disciplined contest.
Agreed.
And then Harmon was in position to make sure that Julian Reese doesn't tip dunk that thing.
Yes.
Harmon grabs the rebound. It ends up, I think, going from Harmon to Shannon to Hawkins for an and one.
Yeah.
And that went from a 1-point lead for Illinois to a 4-point lead. Maryland would have taken the lead if they just made that shot. Credit to Marcus and then obviously Justin. Justin making some big plays late. A guy that has had some uninspired play here and there, but he just seems that late in games has made some winning plays for you.
And yeah, because he got back. You may have said that. He got back and put a body on Julian Reese, right? Did you say that?
Yeah.
And then that led to, of course, the sprint out essentially down to Hawkins. I mean, to have why wouldn't you? It's not like, look, it wasn't a Superman play, but it was still a really good play of a kid that busted it down to one end, got a rebound, and then not only that, was looking up court and spotting Coleman, who had made his way back onto the court for the dunk, and that was definitely a huge play. Maryland could just never quite take the lead, could they? They tied it a couple of times, I think, but every time you'd hear their crowd, every time they'd take a shot, like I think Jameer Young shot a 3 once. They were down 2 late, and you could hear the crowd just get fired up because they thought he was going to make it and take a lead, and then he didn't make it. So it just seems like Illinois just kind of clung to that little lead and then finally was able to pull away. Back to your point in the first hour, though, about free throws. You know, these games, all of a sudden, they just become there's a foul every time down the court. And for both teams, and they're both shooting free throws. But with about 7 minutes to play on that, whoever was doing the play-by-play was like, this is probably going to be decided at the line. And he said that, and I was like, please don't turn into that game. It's just not fun basketball to watch.
Not.
It's boring. It's boring to just every time down the court there's a foul, you shoot 2, and then we'll go down to the other end, wait 30 seconds, I'll call a foul, you shoot 2, and we'll do it all over again.
And you just play the game of maybe it was too tightly of a whistle, like it shouldn't have been a foul. Then the ref goes and talks to the coach that's mad, and then the coach that's mad works it into that guy's brain that you need to make it up.
Exactly.
And then
It's a
anything
vicious
close
cycle.
at the other end,
Yep.
boop,
Yep.
send to the line, and it's just that back and forth.
Yep.
Making up things.
And it's always the guy that gets the made-up call that, like, barely touches him, and he's like, what? Like, I didn't even touch him.
Right.
Yeah, no, and I know thankfully not every game goes like that, but when you start having those, I remember saying to myself watching the end of that game, I'm like, this is, ugh.
It's ugly.
But it is what it is.
Kyle, before we catch this break and hear from Brad, his perspective on Saturday's win, Justin Harmon, what do you think about? I do know I appreciate some texters weighing in the U of I Line Link text line saying it was Harmon straight to Hawkins. I thought that too.
Yeah, it was.
But when I was going back through the stats, they gave the assist to Terrence Shannon. They must have just made a mistake on that. So
Well, they did, yeah, because Harmon he threw it
just
down
straight,
to Hawkins.
Yeah,
yep.
straight skips pass up the
Right side.
Right side. Coleman makes the baseline drive and then the finish with the foul on Scott. So Justin Harmon, Kyle. I did the Jack Buck there, Lon. I hope you appreciated that.
No,
Kyle.
He's been great, and you needed somebody on your bench to step up and give you some production because for a stretch there, both Goody and Harmon were really not giving you a whole lot.
Agreed.
And I know your rotation's going to shorten, and the tournament's already pretty short as it is, but you need that guy off the bench that you can trust as that sixth man to come in and maybe even close games out. I know Quincy hasn't really gotten the trust of Brad here recently with some of his play to close games, so Harmon stepped in and he made some big plays. And he had all year long, it feels like there's just been those little like glue guy type plays that you remember from late in these close games that he's capable of making, which is pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
I think he could be a big piece of a March run.
Lindy says on the U of I Line Link text line, Harmon is a bucket getter. Dude knows how to see the ball go up to the basket. Watch his highlights when he committed. He may save a game or two in March.
Yeah, he'll be huge. I mean, I think he could be huge for this team.
It's great to have, and I wrote about it in my player grades, how much Brad is enjoying. We've talked about it throughout the year, just the team on a whole, but especially at guard, a fifth-year veteran guard.
Huge.
Versus pretty much Shannon and a bunch of freshmen last year in the backcourt with Epps and Sky and Sincere, and some of those guys did some good things.
Yeah, oh yeah, they had their moments.
To have someone that's been there before, even maybe not on this level, but playing like an older guy, particularly in crunch time, that'll be important. As Lindy says, especially when they count the most in March. Let's catch a break. Let's hear from Brad Underwood, who spoke to the media after the 85-80 win in College Park on Saturday. Stick with us. This is The Drive.
At Pards in Urbana, the boots just keep on coming. They're known for their huge collection of men's cowboy boots, women's cowgirl boots, kids' boots, and even shoes. If you're searching for top footwear brands, look no further than Pards. They carry a wide variety, including Ariat, Dan Post, Smoky Mountain, Roper, Double H, and more. And if socks or accessories are what you need, they've got all your high-quality essentials. Since 1968, Pards has been serving their customers with high-quality merchandise. And if you haven't been to Pards in a while, a lot has changed. Go check them out just off University Avenue in Urbana.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnaces run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
Welcome to Dick Van Dyke Appliance World.
Hi, I'm looking for a refrigerator.
When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Oh, yeah, well, I just need a refrigerator. Don't need the whole store.
But you get it, the whole store.
My kitchen is only about this big.
You get me.
Hello.
All those delivery, installation, and service technicians in back.
Wow. All those people?
The Dick Van Dyke 5-10-year protection plan, which means in the unlikely event something goes wrong in the first 5 years, your repair cost is nothing.
Nothing?
10 years parts coverage on the major components.
Looks like I'm getting more than a refrigerator today. How much does this whole store cost?
Nothing. Come on. For real. We guarantee to beat any competitor's deal, all that other stuff we talked about, like our service tax.
And your 5-10-year protection plan?
All included.
I'm Dennis Freakin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. And when we say you get the whole store, we mean the whole store. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
It seems like the cost of everything is on the rise. But Erie Insurance can help make sure your auto insurance premium isn't one of them. Avoid rate increases with Erie Rate Lock. Even if you have a claim, your rates won't go up until you change a car, driver, or address.
Your Erie agent in Champaign is Thomas & Ellers Insurance.
Erie Rate Lock is not available in all states. Other conditions and limitations at erieinsurance.com. Go to erieinsurance.com for company licensure and product details.
By now, you've all heard the expression, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 for PDR Automotive. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. But who are they? They, the PDR staff, understand that a name is only as good as the people that represent it. The PDR staff has more than 335 years of combined automotive experience, several employees now on staff for more than 25 years. PDR, more than just a name. Family owned and operated, now celebrating over 50 years in business.
Brad, you kind of mentioned that Terrence, 86 points in his last games, defensively making an impact. Is this kind of when you expected him to turn it on, or what are you seeing from him these last 3 games in particular?
I don't know if it was when I expected. I didn't know coming back. That was so hard, and he's been a great teammate, and he tried to almost tried too hard not to mess things up or not to be so assertive. People laugh. We don't run much to Terrence, and it's just kind of how he scores the basketball in transition, at the foul line, driving the basketball. We try to create space for him, but what he's done defensively is where he's made the jump since he's been back. He was awful in the first few games, and now he's kind of back in a mode where he's doing what he does, and I thought he was terrific tonight.
Brad, the play you referenced, the Hawkins three-point play, the defensive awareness at one end and then the awareness to be able to make that outlet and get everything. How valuable do you think that is for you guys to have all of that stuff clicking, and how encouraging is it with about a month to go that's a month to go in the regular season?
Well, those are plays that send you home in the NCAA tournament, and one of the most heartbreaking plays of my coaching career was us not diving on a loose ball against Notre Dame to go to the Sweet 16 by a guy who did it all year long, and trying to get our guys to understand the difference between winning and losing, and as I call it, the abruptness of the end, which happens in the NCAA tournament, and that was a big play. It wasn't a real smart play by Coleman, flinging it towards their basket, but the play Marcus made, and then Justin, the wherewithal to pitch it ahead, and those are plays that veterans make, and again, we talk a lot about those. So, those are plays you need to be able to make down the stretch and in the last third of the season.
Speaking of that closing time, whether it's forcing Jameer to have some tough twos there at the end or making free throws, how do you feel like your group played there in the final 2 minutes overall?
Well, I told him this is as tough an environment as there is in the Big Ten. And, I didn't think we handled things great at Michigan State on their reunion weekend and their whiteout and their whole deal. But I thought we did it today with our defense. We can talk about the plays, but I thought we got stops. The biggest piece of the game, and let me make sure I get it right, they shot 34% the second half. And that's what you have to do on the road, 21% from three, and that's how you have to win. And I thought we did that today, even when the crowd got rowdy, even when they made a couple possessions in a row scoring. I thought we handled that pretty well.
Hey, Brad, you mentioned getting your win here, but just what can
this win and maybe the way you won it mean, as you kind of put the last pieces, of the regular season together?
We still got a lot of basketball left now, and I mean, we got a really, really hard one, and I think we're playing in Rec Hall, a place that I've never seen, and everybody tells me it's nuts, and so we got a lot of basketball. It's one game that against a really good team, and I have so much respect for Kevin and what he's done as a coach, but you want to build on some of those little plays that we've been talking about, the winning plays, and that's what gives you a chance in March, is the ability to make those plays. I've been challenging Marcus to get on the glass. I'm going to keep challenging Terrence Shannon to get on the glass. He had 1 rebound in 39 minutes. All of you guys could go out and get 1 rebound. And we got to challenge him. He's got another place to go to his game for us to get where we need to go. So a lot of positives. It was nice to get one against a really quality opponent and in a great venue.
I'm seeing a lot of fouling tonight, but what did you like about your defense? Felt like you got aggressive there at the end of the first half and kind of carried that over. What did you like about how you guys handled it?
We tried to guard the ball, and we did some different things today. I mean, we doubled Julian, softly a few times, but we did that more to protect Coleman than for any other reason. But then, then we had a little stretch where we blitzed Jameer in the first half and created some rotations. But, most of the second half was just simply, straight man, our fouling. We've got to get stopped. I mean, we commit some bad fouls, and we got to clean that up.
What did you like about what Justin gave you off the bench? I mean, it seemed like he was assertive attacking the basket, when he had those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the top 10 teams in the country and not giving up threes. And so there's very little opportunity for spray out threes. We knew that going in. We spent a ton of time talking about that. And so you've got to be able to drive the ball. First time Justin drove the ball tonight, great drive, but he jumped off one leg and I don't know if it was Dante or somebody spiked it, And then late, he went in with some assertiveness and 2-foot jump stops and finished and got fouled. So he's been great, and we need him. I was mad he gave up a 3 late, but that's a mistake you can't make in March.
19-2 fast breaks. How does that pace the offense, and what do you like most when you're getting up and down the court like that?
Well, this is one of the best defensive teams, not only in the Big Ten, but in the country. And to walk in here and score 85 points is great. And I think we gained a little bit from watching the Iowa game. Iowa got some easy baskets against them in transition. We really emphasize it. It's what we try to do. But, when we could quit fouling and actually got some stops, they only shot 34% in the second half. We could really get out and run, and that's where Terrence is elite and Coleman as well.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business, as well as Central Illinois employees dedicated to providing you with professional installation and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
Illini fans, taste what's special about Jets Pizza by ordering any of their specialty pizzas for $5 off. That's right, save $5 on all specialty pizzas like the barbecue chicken pizza, chicken grilled to perfection, premium mozzarella cheese, bacon, red onion, and BBQ sauce. All piled onto Jets' amazing crust made from dough they make fresh every day. There's also their super special all-meaty chicken bacon ranch and more, all $5 off. Make your day special and order a Jets specialty pizza for $5 off.
Accumulation, preservation, generation. At Busey Bank, these are the principles we use to build meaningful financial partnerships with our clients and their families. With sound advice and vast resources, partner with Busey for a personalized approach to your legacy. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
And what is Dane Dange's favorite thing about living at Pacifica on Green?
The space is crazy. The rooms are very nice. Everything is brand new. The people that work here are very nice, very friendly, and I feel like it's just very convenient. The environment is definitely good around here. Even just doing my work, good environment around here.
That's basketball star Dane Danger. See it for yourself, the ultimate in student housing. Pacifica on Green. Visit them at pacificaongreen.com.
Are you tired of getting the short end of the stick and always being stuck with cold water for your showers? Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing is here to help. With current tax incentives and rebates, you can save up to $900 on a high-efficiency tankless water heater, unlimited hot water, and saving on your energy bills. It seems like the best gift you could give your home. With the current promotion of 0% financing for qualified applicants, you can't afford not to call. 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
Hi, this is Amanda Jean, the founder and planner of Inspire Your Wedding and Events. After the big yes, are you daydreaming about the big I do? Join us for premier, interactive, immersive, inspirational wedding showcase to bring together vendors and couples from all over Central Illinois for your big day. Come away with ideas and vendors that will make your wedding one of the most inspiring days of your life.
Save the date on Saturday, March 23rd at the historical and unforgettable Orpheum in downtown Champaign.
For complete details, visit inspireyour.com. That's inspireyour.com.
Relax. Call back 217-359-7293.
Colby Wright, Law Enforcement Official of the Month, brought to you by Max at MX Electric.
Kind of the classic answer of what I wanted to do since I was a kid. This is my 11th year being in law enforcement, and I really can't imagine doing anything else. I get a lot of joy out of it.
And how do you handle the fact that there's so many untruths that are being said about law enforcement?
You got to have thick skin. You know, I know why I'm out there. My family knows why I'm out there, and most people know what we're doing is for the right thing, you know.
Well, I'm glad you love it, because we need guys like you.
Yeah, well, I do enjoy it. I don't really know what else I would do, so.
Yeah.
And University of Illinois Police also has a few dogs.
We do. We have several therapy dogs, along with the bomb dogs, the EOD dogs, and we have a pretty large canine program where we're at.
And you do a great job out there protecting, serving the public.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate your support.
Relax. Call back 217-359-7293.
Stevie J Broadcasting is looking for organizations that regularly distribute information regarding employment opportunities to job applicants or have job applicants to refer. If your organization would like to receive notification of job vacancies at our stations, please notify Human Relations at 101 East Washington in Philo, Illinois, 61864, or email hr@sjbroadcasting.com or by phone at 217-367-1195. SJ Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer encouraging minorities and females to apply.
It's hard to recognize the full impact that nearly 1.3 million American charitable nonprofits provide. From hospitals to youth clubs, parks to humane societies, and everything in between, organizations provide valuable services, perks, and entertainment to our lives. And how do these nonprofits function? Well, oftentimes we see volunteers on the front lines who organize and get it done. Nonprofit board members are responsible for guiding these organizations and shaping shared beliefs into plans. Busey's proud to give back to their communities by doing the right thing for customers and building trusted relationships that span generations. Last year alone, Busey Associates gave nearly 16,000 hours of their time to hundreds of community organizations. Visit Busey.com/thepillar to learn more about nonprofit board service, and visit Busey.com/impact to learn more about Busey's commitment to the communities they serve. Busey, member FDIC.
Back on the Drive with Dan Pipe for ESPN Radio 93.5. A couple things I want to hit on as we finish out the show, something we haven't mentioned. I can't remember who brought it up on the U of I Atlanta Link text line. It was something that we chatted about off the air, but the Coleman Hawkins Twitter game continues to flex its muscles.
Expanded to TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, I'm not on the.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the old TikTok, but it's really the new thing. Is TikTok a thing for you, Kyle? Do you have TikTok?
I don't have it.
Do you have
I just see
Instagram?
it. Yes.
I have Instagram.
I'm like one of the very few people my age that does not have TikTok.
Really? Yeah, I would imagine. Facebook, probably not for you.
No.
MySpace?
Nope.
AIM?
Nope.
What is that?
I've never heard of that.
AOL Instant Messenger? That's what we did back when I was like in middle school.
How funny is that? Phone call?
Phone call.
You do any of that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if that was still a thing.
Probably one of the very few in his class that does that as well.
I've even fallen into the trap.
I do it too.
Like email and text are my two best if you want to get a hold of me. I just, I've always said, like, we sit down especially, and I don't, like, I like that people will call me, and a lot of times they're not even thinking of it, but we'll sit down and do this show for 2 hours, and the last thing I want to do is go talk. You know what I'm saying? I just want to get in my truck, drive to a game, kind of chill out, relax, hear a little music, whatever, and, my phone will start blowing up, and I'm like, no, I don't want to talk. But I like to text. That's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And email, as you guys know.
Boys, here's the scoop.
Okay. That is always my
That's
favorite.
how it starts.
Here's the
Trevor
scoop.
used to always give you crap for that.
Oh, God. Do you got, like, Kyle, do you now check your email only because I'm probably sending some dumb email? Hey, guys, Brad Underwood audio. Talk about Illinois win. Brad Underwood audio. You got anything else?
We used to have the fun contrast of Lon wouldn't take his cell phone into work, or he'd turn it off or something like that at the office.
Well, I didn't get,
or maybe not service.
Yeah, I couldn't get very good service.
And so Trevor wouldn't check his emails, which Lon would always send stuff out via email, and Lon wouldn't check his cell phone. So we had a lot of really good programming back then. We made it. We're still here today.
We somehow did it.
But that was always a funny
Yeah,
time.
I used to leave the office, and I'd get a little bit out of town, and my phone would just blow up. Just, like 14 texts in one group, 38 in another. I'm like, what? Like, what happened that you needed me? I don't know. I'm otherwise a pretty boring guy. Yeah. But I do like Coleman.
Coleman Hawkins. Yeah, I mean, so they had which was a cool, like, throwback Maryland shirt that everybody got there. Kyle, you did a good rendition paraphrasing of what Coleman had to say, or did you pull it up?
I could play it.
All right, so he got asked about the environment at Maryland, and he mentions, in contrast to maybe previously, especially as recent as that Iowa game versus that one. So how about
I
you
got
play
the whole
that?
bite. It'll be in the middle.
They were giving these shirts away during the game?
They had it at, I think, every seat in the house.
And Coleman was able to grab one.
He was on the team plane with one.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
someone screenshotted this TikTok video. They almost made it look like a music video type of thing with different guys doing different stuff.
I didn't hear the music, but I saw him doing Ty Rogers was doing the thing.
The end has Coleman with a certain finger on his hand.
I saw that.
Flashing with the Maryland shirt. So, how about the Coleman clip before we talk more about that?
It was a big win. I'm pretty sure it was a quad one win. It's always good to get a win on the road because it's hard. They're giving out free T-shirts and having all their students come in trying to pack it out. Usually there's 1,000 people in here, but we were able to get a win tonight in a pretty hostile environment.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. He's burning it down
He
on
loves
his
the
last
troll,
trip through the
man.
Big Ten, man.
Oh, yeah.
He is burning it down.
And it's funny. It's fun.
Oh, it's awesome. Wow. Does Maryland usually not get pretty good crowds?
When they run real hot and cold. When they're
Okay.
good, that
Yeah.
place is live and jumping. I was there, was it last year? Yeah.
Okay.
Late night, early season tip. They were excited about Willard. They had
Mm-hmm.
won some early season games, and it was like a 9 o'clock local tip, and Van Pelt was there. And that building,
Oh, that's right.
That building was on fire.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
of course, there's been other games where when they stink, into Turgeon, and points this year where they don't show up. You're not good. They're not going to come out and support you. So
Probably a lot to do in that area, maybe.
I guess DC's like an hour away
Yeah.
from College Park.
I need to get out
Go
to
eat some
DC
crab
again.
cakes.
Yeah. I say like I wouldn't eat them, but I've
Ah,
heard
yeah.
I've heard people that like them really like them.
Yeah.
Really like the crab cakes. So
No doubt.
that's awesome.
So what do you guys think? And then also when Purdue lost, Coleman tweeted out, I think it was like one of the villains from Scooby-Doo laughing after they lost to Ohio State on Sunday. And he did that when they previously lost to Nebraska, I believe.
See, now that I was never a trash talker, still not to this day. I would worry because you still have to play them. You know, it's one thing like, I mean, you could still play Maryland in the Big Ten tournament, I guess, but you're pretty much done with them. So now you can, on the way out, you can go scorched earth and just, but like Purdue coming to you still, I don't know that I'd feed the fire.
One thing I would say from a competitive standpoint, obviously Coleman can do whatever he wants.
Right.
But when you lose to a team and then you're trash talking them, that there's still kind of that like, well, you guys lost to Purdue,
Exactly.
so kind of clowning them, it almost feels like, you know, it kind of goes in shifts here recently, especially I liken it maybe to the Cardinals and Cubs, like
right,
where the Cardinals are good and Cubs fans, you know, the Cardinals will lose to the Dodgers in the playoffs and Cubs fans will talk a bunch of noise, or when the Cardinals are down and the Cubs will fall short of the playoffs or lose in the playoffs, and the Cardinals fans are saying ha ha ha, like it's like, or just, you know,
It's like, what, you weren't even close to the playoffs. Why are
we
you
were
talking?
better than you. Why are you even talking to me right now?
No, it's true. It's true. So that's maybe why, yeah, with Coleman talking the smack to Purdue, although it's funny.
It's funny, and that game's going to be so amplified anyway. Like, you think Purdue's going to be sleepwalking, but then
Right.
they read Coleman's Twitter feed, and they're like, oh, actually, we're gonna bring it to Coleman.
We're here to beat Coleman up.
I wanted to ask you, though.
He'll get a lot of crap, though,
Yeah.
if they don't beat him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm sure he can handle it.
I'm sure. On the note, we've kind of just, I said it again.
Yeah, that's all
Take
right.
a lap. All right, so.
Speaking of laps, Joey Logano, your leader.
Good segue.
Sorry. They're in the stage 2 now.
We've talked about it before, like villains around, which I think he kind of has that role now, right?
Totally.
He's disliked around
Totally.
the Big Ten. And there have been plenty of examples of players that, like a Chris Kramer, maybe some included in like the way they play, like
Yes.
Brad Davison, but
Yeah.
also then maybe some of the antics, whether it's arrogance, whether it's just whatever you want to call it, that you hate them if they're against you, you love them if they're on your team. I've mentioned before that they're different players, but Lucas Johnson seemed to be one of those guys for sure. Was there anybody else here, whether it's recently or like his like big picture wise?
Did Ray Rice talk some smack?
I think he did, but those teams were never good enough to
to really do it. I'm trying to think. I mean, that 04-05 team didn't have a lot of that.
I don't think so.
They just went out and
Yeah,
beat your
they
ass.
beat
I mean, it was
everybody.
just there's the scoreboard. That that's all I need to tell you. Man, I'm thinking back. I mean, Lucas was definitely one that got under your skin. Absolutely, Lucas Johnson. Gosh, who else would have been in that vein, kind of, if you will? Now, Coleman is one of those guys that I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know that I don't know if he upsets fan bases because of the way he plays. Right? I mean, is he that arrogant on the
when
court?
he complains.
Well, yeah, the complaining, definitely.
And he does like to chirp the crowd.
You're right. You're right.
Although if he's only saying boom, then that's not a whole
Yeah.
lot.
Are we sure that that's...
I don't think that's all that he has said, maybe just in that moment.
But it seems, I mean, like, after that dunk from Harmon, Harmon threw it down to him and he dunked. And then he's like holding the ball in the air and just kind of smiling. I mean, he knows how to get under your skin. But like a guy like Brad Davison was more of, he was just, you couldn't stand him because he was making every little hustle play. And after a while.
Flopping a bunch.
And flopping. And after a while, it just got annoying. And Lucas Johnson did a lot of that with the flop and stuff. But he just took so many charges. Lucas did. Which is what Davison did as well. But Coleman is just, I mean, Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah. He
was
was
a
a villain
social
for
media
sure.
dude.
And when you're outspoken like that.
They're probably best friends. I mean, I could see both of them just being like, oh, man, this is awesome.
I do remember back in the offseason when Coleman had that tweet to Hunter when Hunter went in the portal. Said something like, sup, or something like that. Kind of that like flirty
yes.
tweet.
Yeah, like, hey, you could come to Illinois.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and Tim, by the way, on the U of I Line Link text line, bringing up DeMonte. When you think about DeMonte and Connor McCaffrey going headbutt to headbutt, forehead to forehead.
I think Andrew's right. For some reason, I have to keep coughing here. I don't know why. Myers Leonard seemed like he talked some smack.
Yeah.
Sorry. Good Lord. Yeah, DeMonte was, look, those Peoria guys, Serge would talk a little smack. I don't know that Marcus Griffin ever did. But yeah, you better bring it if you're going to play in Peoria.
Sure.
So I think they kind of learned at an early age to probably have some really fiery scrimmages and or Saturday pickup games at the park or whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of trash talking that goes on there. A lot.
Yep. But
That's
I mean,
a good one, DeMonte.
It's not a bad one. Kyler says that Chester probably ruffled some feathers. I know he ruffled Eric Gordon's when he
Yes, he did. Man, that was
smacked
awesome.
him there at midcourt with the shoulder.
There again, Eric Gordon kind of got the last laugh, right?
Yeah, unfortunately with the banked in three and Sean Pruitt's missed free throws. That stinks.
Oh man! And then is he still playing?
Eric Gordon's still playing. Yeah, he's on the
Wow.
Phoenix Suns.
Is he really? Has he ever had like a lead role in the NBA? Or has he been just more of kind of a shooter?
Yeah, I mean he's been a starter and a scorer, but yeah, he's more so of a shooter.
Okay.
I have to look up his NBA stats. Someone brought this up recently. It might have been on our message board. But on the note of Eric, on the note of Eric Gordon, I'm gonna embrace it. I'm on the note of guy.
Just do it, yeah. Just embrace it.
I'm gonna wear a pencil in my ear and bring a notepad everywhere. On the note of NIL and the current recruiting stuff that you could do.
Yep.
Would Illinois have kept like an Eric Gordon, or would there have been the fall off in recruiting with Bruce Weber? Weber might have done the whole "we're not doing the portal" thing.
I could see that. He'd be like Izzo. That's why they were buddies.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
It's hard to say,
I'm sure
obviously.
he would have done it.
I'm sure he would have done the portal, but
right.
And then if it's not cheating, then
Yeah, well, right. I mean, as long as it's above board, then Weber was all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a great guy, so.
For sure.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Eric Gordon career numbers averaged 16 points a game in the NBA. So that's probably more than you would have thought.
It is.
Won Sixth Man of the Year back in 2017 with Houston. Started with the Clippers, where he would have been an early round pick. His third year in the league back in 2011 averaged 22 a game. So he's been a primary scorer, or one of the, I would imagine he's probably the leading scorer for the Clippers that year. But down the stretch, middle to latter portions of his career, a perimeter spot up shooter for the most part.
No, that makes sense. Well, that's a pretty good career if you've averaged 16 a game in the NBA, and he's been playing for how many years? 15? No.
What is that? Quick math.
I mean, Chester's now
since 08-09. So he came into the league when he was 20, and he's currently 35. So yeah, 15.
Yeah. Man, that's a pretty good career,
I'd say.
I don't know why I keep coughing. Is it time to end the show soon? Because
it is.
I'm
time
like
to end the
down
show
here
soon.
like needing Halls. Or why do you always say, like, do you say Kleenex instead of a tissue? Like, we always say the brand name, right?
Yeah, I say Kleenex.
So instead of a cough drop, I say Halls or Ludens. The old Ludens.
Give me a Halls. Did you guys see the first version of the seating projection?
I did.
How much stock do you? I don't always put a ton of stock into that. I think it matters maybe more as you get closer. I always kind of get annoyed a little bit with the college football.
Yeah.
I think they milk it a little bit too much. It's like, all right, this is the picture of now, but we got a bunch of games left that will determine a lot. That we're all just going to get mad. How is TCU in over Bama right now? Like,
That's so true.
There's a month and a half of the season left.
Exactly. Well, let me ask you this. How important does it matter to the actual seeds in the NCAA tournament? Is it
how much do the seeds matter themselves?
Is it like set in stone? Like if you're 15th, then you're definitely a 4 seed come March. Like if the season ended today, would Illinois definitely be a 4?
I think so. Like that was the snapshot that we got from the committee.
So in that,
Illinois was going to be the 15th.
Yeah. Is that what they say?
That's just how they pronounced it.
That's right. They and Kevin Warren.
And 15th, Illinois. Brad Evans, real quick. I know we're got to get out of here, but he gave his updated big board. Illinois has moved up to the top number 4 seed, so just on the fringe of jumping back into 3 seed range. Got teams like a Wisconsin that's fallen here, and that's why it's important to have a strong finish where getting a 3 doesn't necessarily guarantee that second weekend berth. You could run into a tough 6. I mean, we've seen obviously every seed